You're listening to another Ambitious Entrepreneur Network.com podcast, the voice for entrepreneurs and small business. Now, onto the show.
You're listening to the award-winning podcast, The Ambitious Entrepreneur Show, featuring business leaders to help you navigate a constantly changing marketplace. Want to become known as a trusted authority while building a thriving business you love? The Ambitious Entrepreneur Show will show you how. Here's your host, Anne-Marie Cross.
Hello, Sarah. Would you believe it? We are live streaming. So I completely lost power whilst we were going into the introduction. So thank you so much for staying online. Let me just get everything up and running and we will go through that again. There's nothing like going live and have, and you know what I say, when technology happens and things kind of fall apart, we just have to
Yeah,
go with the flow. It just means, and
exactly.
we've got lots of people working from home as well, and we all rush around. Power's gone anyway. So let me introduce my wonderful guest today. And of course, this is another episode of the Ambitious Entrepreneur Show brought to you by the Influence Alliance. And the Influence Alliance is the business building community for coaches and consultants who want to make a much bigger impact in the world with their message whilst also build a profitable and scalable business. So my guest today says, go after what gets you out of bed in the morning. And I'd love to introduce Sarah Shaw to you. Sarah is a fashion entrepreneur. She is a product designer and a business coach that specializes in helping other women entrepreneurs to succeed. Now, Sarah has her 20 years of experience and 6 companies under her belt, and she has built a treasure trove of secrets for launching your product line, getting your products into stores and boutiques, and getting your products to A-list celebrities and getting massive publicity in order to grow your companies or their companies quickly. Now, on today's show, Sarah is able to share how to get your product into celebrity hands, how to connect with buyers, as well as how to build a product brand in today's digital world. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here with you tonight.
It's interesting that when we look at online business and all of the things that you're talking about today, if we were to look about 2 years ago, or maybe even 2 or 3 years ago now, comparing it to now with so many more businesses online, so many more businesses aware of many of the tools, technologies that are available to them, I would imagine that there's a lot more opportunity for getting eyes on products, services, and so forth with the tech and so forth that is available now. Would you agree?
Yes and no. I think that being with everybody being online in the last couple of years, that it makes the marketplace actually a little tougher
Yeah.
to get the word out, and that you
Yes.
have to dive a little deeper, into how you're going to do that. So it may be that you get your business, whether it's a service or product based company, from advertising, Google, Facebook, Instagram. It could be that you are an amazing email marketer and you get huge open rates and people come to you that way. It may be that you're dialing for dollars all the time, right? I don't know. People still make phone calls. I know I certainly get like 1,000 spam calls a week. And people are trying, I think, so many different methods these days because, kind of pre-COVID, you're a digital marketer too, in a sense, right? So it was sort of 7 to 9 times really of contact before people would kind of pull the trigger, sign up for your newsletter, buy something, whatever the call to action was. And during COVID, we sort of found that it was more like 12 to 15 times. And now I'm sort of seeing it kind of dive back down to maybe the 9 to 11. I don't know if you're noticing that as well, but I feel like it can be just depending on what your business is and what the needs of your community
And what's
are at the
doing with
time.
that? Leveraging that. It's interesting you should say that. I'm glad you answered that way because I guess with any opportunities, whether we're doing face-to-face marketing, networking, relationship building, it's all very important, isn't it? That relationship building, whatever tool, technology, or, what we might call old-fashioned networking, which is still very, very important. I think it's how we use that and it's the mindset of the business. And I heard someone refer, and I can't recall who it was, so I cannot credit them, but they said the rapid change of businesses now having to adopt the way that they're now on the online space and leveraging these tools has kind of accelerated into a smaller amount of time that it maybe would have taken them minimum 6 years. And
Mm.
so, yes, these tools are available. They're incredible tools, but how we're using them. And I love the way that you've reminded the importance of this. And I think it is so important that if we haven't really crafted our message to really align and position our business with the needs of our ideal customer, we will probably find that we're not able to cut through the noise, and we have to refine that message for sure. It's able to be done, and it may not take one or two times. And some businesses, and I'm sure you hear this too, Sarah, well, we tried that, but it didn't work. Yeah, but how frequently? Well, we've done a few posts and no
Right.
one's really responded. So that's so important. So certainly going to be able to tap into that. But I know that you have an area of specialty in really being able to leverage relationships with celebrities, people who have a following already, and through leveraging those relationships gets your products exposed to a far greater audience. But that takes time too. So what are some strategies that you see really work well to get our products into celebrity hands?
So, it's funny. Most people think it takes a long time, and it can actually be one of the quickest ways to raise your brand credibility, because celebrities are actually a lot easier to get to than people think. So what I recommend is you just do some internet research. I mean, depending on the kind of celebrity you're looking for, or if it's a product-based company, then maybe if the celebrity just had a baby and you make baby products, you want to look for celebrities that just have children in the age range of whatever your product is. And then doing some research on them, maybe they always wear pink or something, and you make something fabulous that's pink that you want to get to their little girl. And so then it's really going to contactanyscelebrity.com, which is a website that's pretty inexpensive, where you can actually just get everybody's contact pretty much out there, and then crafting a pitch to their gatekeepers, because you're not going to actually get to the celebrity directly yourself unless you happen to message them through Instagram or Facebook and they actually happen to respond, which can happen, but it's more few and far between. So definitely sending a letter to their gatekeeper, telling them a brief little bit about your business, and then why you want to get them, the pink dress for their daughter, and that, you hope that she enjoys it, and blah, blah. And that if they want anything else, here's a link to your catalog, or you want to let them choose something. And so then it's really becomes that relationship between you and the gatekeeper. So it's keeping it friendly, being consistent, right? Let's say you email them on Tuesday, then if you haven't heard back, you send them a little reminder on Thursday, because they're super busy too. And often you will get responses from the celebrity gatekeepers much faster than you would for, let's say, if you were reaching out to the magazines or trying to get on a podcast or, whatever, with other busy entrepreneurs. I think these particular people are trained to respond. Like that's their job is just to respond to the phone or the email, or however the communication is coming through. It can also be a good idea, again, to extend those points of contact. So following those celebrities on social, maybe making some comments. If there's articles written about them and they are on social media, leaving a comment, just so that your name is just out there more and more, which kind of goes back to our original little chat about the points of contact that can make the relationship get started more quickly.
Yeah. What I love about what you're saying and there is that it's a great reminder that celebrities are human beings. Because often, well, they've kind of developed a character and a persona in the marketplace, which is their role. However, they may have a personal preference to a certain type of jewelry, or, some of their core values is aligned with a particular, whatever it may be. And if your business aligns with that, or a product aligns with that too, that's a great way to be able to develop that relationship. And what I'm hearing, and this is such a great reminder so often that we think, well, I've sent it and I didn't hear back, but it is follow up. And just because you may not have heard from them immediately does not mean that they're not interested in it. It may just mean that there's been other things, and a nice reminder is certainly going to pop that brand, pop your email or your letter back to top of mind. And I love the way that you've also said, this is about relationship building and what we invest on the front end. And if we're really aligned, and I know everyone who's listening to this and part of our community very much aligned with integrity and excellence, that they taking a little bit of time to show an interest in that could go a long way. Comment on social media posts. Where is that person going, attending, speaking at, aside from, say, their day job, if you will, as part of movies and so forth. Take an interest like that, and eventually I think they could notice you, because some celebrities are still kind of following to a degree, I would imagine. Obviously, some of the fanfare stuff they turn off against, but you could really see the difference, can't you, between a well thought out comment versus that kind of thing really stands out online, doesn't it? If someone is genuinely interested in commenting.
Yeah, I think it makes a big difference, especially even if you send them a DM through Instagram, for example, they may just get a ton of, fan mail, right? Oh, you're so beautiful or whatever, right? Whereas if you're leaving a genuine comment, it may actually stand out. I often tell my clients, once you've sent something to a celebrity, go to their Instagram maybe a week or two later. If you haven't seen them posting a picture, you haven't really heard anything, but they've received the gift, just a quick little like girlfriend note. Hey, so-and-so, I'm the one who sent you the blah, blah, and just wanted to see if you liked it. We'd love to send you anything else you'd like from our catalog, so feel free to reach out anytime, or something like that, where it's just like what you might say to a friend, because like you were saying, they are just people. They just happen to be famous for a living, right? And we all are known in our field, and they just happen to be on a 10-foot screen. So they're a lot more well-known around the world, but they're still just people who want to have relationships, want to have friends, and are just normal people.
Yeah. And, I think sometimes we often, because of that, think, oh, they wouldn't be interested in this or that, but they do have their personal preferences and their hobbies and things that they like and dislike and so forth. And if you've got a product or whatever it is that you do in your business is certainly going to be something of interest, don't assume that they would not be interested. And those people, I think, I would often have this, and I'm sure you have this in your business too. People will approach you and think, I didn't think that you would respond. Is this really you? That kind of thing. And they are just human beings, and, not sending something is often the first reason why you're never getting your product or brand known by that person. Are there some do nots? You've spoken beautifully about some of the things that you should be doing, but what are some things that you see businesses do that you think you need to stop doing that, because this is going to eliminate any possibility of developing any relationships with the gatekeepers or the celebrity themselves?
I think kind of bragging about your company and making the letter more about you rather than about why they would want your product. So I think people tend to, as entrepreneurs, want to talk themselves up, right? And pitch, I'm so fabulous, right? Whereas they don't know who you are, and they just really want to know what you're doing for them, right? So it kind of comes back to, when you think about your marketing, right? In general, you want to talk about what you can do for your customer, whether it's service, product, it doesn't matter, how they can see what you can do for them, what it will do for them, right? And you want people to read saying, oh, that's me. Of course I need this, right? And so it's the same thing with celebrities, is making it very minimal. I created this blouse because of blah, 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 and it's made, by women who do XYZ. That's enough. And then it's, I thought you would like it because you wear pink all the time, or whatever the relationship is that you're connecting to. So it's really about what your product will do for them, why they might like it, why they could use it.
Yes. I'd
And
love to speak to you just oh, sorry, you were continuing?
I was just going to say that it's really the downfall is really the over explaining, I think, and making a big
We're
paragraph about
award
yourself.
winning and
Yeah.
all of those kind of things. And
Yeah.
it's the same as when you're marketing to a potential customer, awards and things like that. I mean, they may ask that down the track, but at the beginning, they want to know, how's this product going to support me?
Mhm.
How can it fit in with my needs? So say then someone has then sent something and then a celebrity has worn that. I want to talk a little bit about how can we leverage that from our business point of view as far as ongoing publicity, so we don't cross the line, because we're all about integrity here. And if the celebrity has worn that and may not necessarily have said anything about the product, you don't want to then go on and take that name of the celebrity and plaster it all, because that's a no too, isn't it? So what are some of the protocols that you share once a celebrity has worn the product or whatever it is? How can you leverage that so that there's integrity for your business and also integrity from the point of view of that person?
Sure. Good question. So I'm in your camp. Always travel with integrity. And so you never want to put words in people's mouth, right?
Mm.
That's the worst downfall, I think, with celebrities, is saying, oh, she loves this pink shirt. Well, unless she's saying, I love this pink shirt on video, you don't actually know what she feels or thinks about it. So you can say, oh, here's a picture of so and so wearing our pink shirt, right? Which is the actual truth. If there's a photo, right? Sometimes you just get a thank you note from the celebrity and you never see a photo of them wearing or using your product. But again, you could go out to celebrity magazines, for example, like the People's and Us Weeklies, or even fashion magazines, and say, hey, here's a photograph of the thank you note I got from so and so. And there's a good chance they could get to that celebrity, ask them, because they usually have relationships with them or through their PR team, to say, hey, we saw that you wear the pink shirt, or you loved it, or sent a thank you note or whatever, and could we write about it this week? And so sometimes they'll even pose or send a photo of them in the shirt for them to put in the magazine, or they'll just say, yeah, sure, I did write that note, and you can go ahead and just put a picture of it, in there. Sometimes they'll post on social media, in which case you can repurpose that, because there is whatever it says, right? You can take a screenshot of the Instagram image, or like recently a client sent something to Eva Longoria and she did a whole unboxing video and put it on her Instagram. And so she recorded that quickly, made a copy, and could put it on her press page on her website and send out the link to the magazines and stores and her online shoppers, people for e-com, because all of those things raise your credibility. And so you can feel free, if someone's posted it on social, to repurpose it, because it's a sharing network. And then if it happens to be in a magazine, again, you can share those images from a publicly purchased magazine. And, as long as you're not putting words in somebody's mouth, but hey, here's so-and-so wearing my blah, blah, right? Then it's really just saying the truth about what's happening in the
Yeah.
photograph.
And you've given me some ideas. I mean, and so many people now, we know, even as individuals, businesses, they love that whole unboxing. So if you're going to invest time and money into this strategy, imagine if the packaging was personalized for that celebrity, that even the packaging itself wowed them so much so that you took that little bit of extra time. And that's, I think, circles right back to what we were saying about our message. Spend time with the message that you're sharing online, right from the graphics to the wordings that you're using. Is it really speaking directly to your ideal client? Can you take the packaging that you're sending and the words that you're sending to connect? Can that be done in an innovative way that will really stand out? Because it's about creating an experience, isn't it? And if it's an experience that's memorable, right from the person who is the gatekeeper to say, look what we just got. I mean, I had to send this through because look at this. That is going to be memorable to that individual. And who wouldn't want to unbox something that's quite kind of personalized and
I would.
ultimately the product. We all love to do that,
Yeah.
don't we? And we even love watching the unboxing of it. I mean, the things that
Yeah.
we watch these days, I mean, it's kind of right there. So, and it's all about getting creative, isn't it? What can we do and leverage that will enable us to create that unique experience and something that someone will continue to speak about? So let's talk about. I love that. Thank you for spending a little bit of time into that. And I know that we've only scratched the surface, and I'll let everybody know how they can connect with you, Sarah, so that they can tap into your expertise at the end of this show. But you also would like to talk about how do we connect with buyers? What are some things that you're seeing working really well at the moment?
So I really find that connecting with buyers by email originally, like as your first, you know, investment in that connection, because they need to see your product. I mean, unless you've happened to be in the store and you're wearing the pink shirt and they say, "Oh, I love it. Where can I get it?" "Oh, I'm the designer," right? Then that's just a lucky moment. But most of the time, you'll be wanting to contact them by email so that you can put a link to your catalog or line sheet, or maybe you have it stored online somewhere, so that they can take a look at their leisure and before you actually call them. Because if they haven't seen what you're offering, it's often hard to describe over the phone, right?
Yes.
And you want them to have had a visual experience before you actually speak to them. So I like to use tracking software, make sure that you know that they've opened it. If you're contacting them by email, making sure that they've opened or possibly clicked on your links, because I think of the clickers as your hottest lead, right? Because they've actually taken that first. Well, first they opened your email, and their second step is to click on your link to your catalog, or maybe a photo, or click to your website. But at least they've had some, mental registration of what it is that you're showing them. So I always like best if they've had one or two connections with your product, because when you call and you're like, "Hey, wanted to call to see if you've had a chance to," you never want them to know you've been stalking them. But and if you've had a chance to look at my catalog or my website, and I sell this pink shirt and wanted to, I thought it would be a great fit for your store. At least you have an inkling that they've clicked and seen what you're hoping that they have looked at. So that
Right.
would be my first outreach to stores.
Perfect. So you wouldn't ring them. I see that you clicked it 8:29 to 12 today on my link. So just ringing you up at
Yeah.
8:15.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely a no-no.
Well, because sometimes people will say to me, "Well, how do you, what do you say to them?" I'm like, "Well, you just say, 'Hey, I'm following up to see if you've had a chance to look at my email,' right?"
Yeah.
Because if you're using a CMS system, you can obviously see if people have opened or clicked, or if you're using
Mhm.
some other kind of tracking software. These relationships are so important to building your brand, that you need to start to know over time whether people are opening the emails, right? And with the new iOS 15, a lot of those open rates are inflated now. So you have to kind of decide which direction you're going to go as far as reading into all of that, because it can be that it's showing somebody opened it, but they really didn't. So
Yes.
we're just working on developing some new techniques to get around all that.
Oh, okay. Do you have any favorite or recommended software that you've used and perhaps recommend to clients? Because that in itself can be a difficulty. There are so many new technologies and apps being built today. It can become quite overwhelming, knowing which one is going to best suit. So do you have any ones that you recommend?
Yeah, it can be hair on fire, right? I'm a big user of Active Campaign. I've been using it for more than 10 years, probably. Which, if people aren't familiar, it's like MailChimp or Constant Contact or things like that, Klaviyo. I just like their interface. I don't know that they're actually better than anybody, but that's the one that we like. But we've just started experimenting with GMass, which is a Gmail mass mailer system where you can actually mail merge Excel sheets, and it actually comes from your email, not from a mass email system. So you can see the open rates and the clicks. And I'm we're just experimenting. We've only been using it for about a week or so. So it's very new, but we think we like it. And we think this might solve and help us get around this iOS 15, which
Yes.
do you know, I don't know if
Share a
you
little
know
bit for those who
exactly.
may not be aware of what's going on, just to
Yes.
keep them up to scratch. Yeah.
So from what I understand and what I've been told is that the iOS 15 update so normally if you're sending like through MailChimp or Constant Contact, ActiveCampaign, Klaviyo, there's little images embedded so that the system can tell if somebody opened or opened the email.
Yes.
Not whether they clicked on one of your own links, because that is easy to tell, but if they actually opened it. But the iOS 15, if it shows up on your phone, like on your iPhone, and it will and you just check your email and see that the email is there, it will automatically register it as an open. So
Mm.
whether you ever click on it or not, it will register it as an open. If you're looking on your laptop and that's where you check your email first thing in the morning, it won't register unless you actually click and open. But if you're using your iPhone and you are at iOS 15, it will read that. So your open rates will start to become inflated as more and more people
Yes.
update the
And they
iOS.
might have been going delete, and then it's
Yeah,
registered as a click. And all of these things are important to be mindful of and to track, because as you were saying, it can take multiple touch points, and the more you can then calculate from your tracking system, well, each of the emails that this person has been sent, they've opened each of them and they've actually clicked through a number of those links. They're more aware of your brand then, haven't they? They've engaged with
exactly.
that, and that really is quite valuable in today's world when people do that. Are there any other things that you can recommend around connecting with buyers? I mean, we could do a whole show,
Yeah.
probably a whole day, on email, the ins and
Yeah.
outs and so forth, but what other things do you recommend and can see are working really well?
So I think again, it's sort of back to that finding the connection that you have. So I think it's important to, research their website, take a look at other brands that they sell, because, the idea is to get out of your own backyard, right? Obviously, if it's stores that are within 10 miles or 20 miles, maybe you've been there. But if you're in California and you want to sell to stores in Chicago and New York, most likely you're looking online, and which I highly recommend. And so it's investigating their site, looking at other brands that they carry. Do your products fit in with those brands? Do the stores that you do sell to in your own backyard carry some of those same brands and therefore do well with your collection? So sometimes you can say, I sell in this store here and they also sell these 3 brands and I see you sell them. So I think, it could be a great fit. And so that's another trick of, not a trick, but another of how you can
Tactics,
speak to
another
somebody.
thing that you can
Another
do.
hack. Yeah. And
Yeah.
another interesting idea, if you live in a town, it's just easier if it's local for you. So if you live in a city that has kind of a hip store that is talked about a lot online, or is in the press a lot, maybe it's credited in magazines, sometimes getting your stuff there on consignment can just be a coup, because then you can call other stores and say, hey, I'm sold in this boutique. And you don't have to say my stuff's on consignment, but it opens doors. When I had my first accessory line many years ago, that's what I did in Los Angeles. I went into the 3 hippest stores I knew. I asked them to take it on consignment. They did, because I was a nobody. And then I could go out to other stores and say, hey, I'm in these 3 stores in LA. And people were like, oh, well, if they're buying it, we're getting it,
Yeah.
and it
Fantastic.
just starts to snowball. And then the more stores you're in, and the more stores start to come to you.
Yeah, and then get the friends to go, "It's on consignment in that store, go and buy some," you know? I mean, all of
Exactly.
these things, it's just a building momentum, isn't it? And I
Mhm.
don't think in that instance there's anything because obviously that once people start to recognize that, and we're gonna talk a little bit about how to build a product brand in today's digital world. I don't know about you, Sarah, but I'll watch someone, and I love Instagram. I'm a very visual person. So I'll watch someone just, wearing a piece of jewelry or whatever. And then I love that. Where did she get that from? We just, maybe that's just a woman thing. I don't know. But that kind of the visual aspect of things is really
Yes,
powerful. The
it
right
is.
kind of photograph in front of the right person can really be all that's needed to take
Mhm.
you to the next level. So let's then segue into now, how do we build that product brand and in today's digital world? Because one of the things as businesses, and we can use everything that you've shared today and even bring that into a service-based business too. All of the strategies that you've shared can be tweaked. Because if you start to develop a relationship with a buyer or even a celebrity, as we were talking about earlier in the show, what you have also created as your own brand voice, your own brand space, they may take a couple of seconds of their time to click across to see what can they find out about you. So it's
Mhm.
important that we put our best foot forward, isn't it? So let's talk about
Totally.
how do we build that product brand, but a standout product brand in today's digital world.
So I think I like to look at your business as a four-piece pie. So one quadrant is your online shoppers, right? Your e-com access that you have selling on your website. Then there's selling to stores, pitching magazines and the media to build credibility, and then pitching celebrities. So I feel like to build a brand today, you have to work on all of these quadrants. And I put social media into the media section. So it's having an amazing social media presence, being sure to constantly show your new products, make your products, instead of just, a white picture of your product that might be on your website, because e-com images are a lot different than lifestyle, right? You need to have sometimes a clear white background photo is what I mean by an e-com photo. And you always want to have those, because sometimes you might send those to the media, because a lot of magazines, especially these days, are not doing as many photo shoots. So they might say, oh, great, we'll just use your gorgeous photo, and
Yeah.
they can ghost it or do whatever they need to and stick it in the magazine. Not if it's a lifestyle with, all this stuff behind you, right? So you want to have two sets of images, right? The e-com and then some lifestyle, or you can digitize the images and make them look like they're standing in Paris if that's what it takes to sell. But I
Yeah.
think that it's getting people excited. And so getting into the media, getting magazine exposure builds that brand credibility just the same way it does as getting a celebrity to be, wearing your product and post a picture on Instagram. So I think
Yeah.
these days it's that credibility building that's
Mm.
really important to building a brand quickly, especially if you have something that's patented,
Mm.
because patents are really hard to enforce. Been there, done that. So, so you want to get out there and be like you got to be the first one to market, first to just explode it and get
Yes.
it into as many places as possible, as quickly as possible these days.
Yeah. Brilliant. Something else that I see happening, because I've got young millennial daughters, and one of the things that I see her doing, I was even saying today, I mean, wearing products and then tagging the business and then the business messaging and say, can we use that as part of our social media? That's a great way to showcase proof, because the
Yes.
individual, like my daughter, gets a real thrill. Oh, they're sharing that on their profile, and then that gets sent out to all of her community again, because they reshare the fact that the companies shared their
Sure.
posts. And these kind of things happen daily, so
Hmm.
this is kind of third party validation, isn't it? And,
Hmm.
so you can really get creative. As you say, they may not necessarily have people here in Melbourne. I think we've won, or we can now claim the title of the most locked down city in the world. So not that we wanted that title, but anyway, there you go. But there's still opportunities to get your brand, if you will, out in front of your ideal client, if it's young, millennials, through using third-party, content as part of, your overall strategy. Do you think that businesses are recognizing the power in the communities of some of the individual people who will be buying their product as well, that could kind of amplify that brand message out in front of their community just through what they're sharing?
Yeah, so many people have affiliate programs now on their site, and what they also call brand ambassadors, which I think is getting to be a little antiquated, but it's more thinking of them as an influencer, right? So I think that going after influencers in general through Instagram can be a great way to promote your brand. If you don't have a lot of money to throw at that, you could offer them an affiliate commission for selling something. Like even your daughter, right? If she's wearing the pink top and she's, taking her pictures and they tag her, she can say, yes, you can use it, but I want 5% of all the sales of the pink top for the next 30
Yeah.
days. So,
Yeah.
so you can, or if she buys clothes and she really likes them, she could actually contact the company before she starts promoting the photo of herself in it and say, hey, I want to do a relationship with you. I have X number of followers. I get X number of likes and comments. I think I could sell this and I'll do it for an affiliate commission, no fees. Right.
Yes.
So then they have nothing to lose
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
she's putting her money where her mouth is, right? Hey, I'll sell this for you. You pay me
Yeah.
commission and we're all happy. If I don't sell any, then no loss. Right.
No, that's
So
right.
so a lot of people are doing that, even with some famous celebrities, because last year nobody was working. So a lot of
True.
celebrities or stylists started turning towards selling things to make some money. And even if it was for fun or for real, right? I mean, a lot of celebrities don't need to make the money, but the stylists do, and the people who work for them need to. And so it's just the business has changed a little bit. It's just a little more, it's a little softer and a little more fluid. And I think agencies and people are more open to new ideas these days
Yeah.
than they were in the past.
And I think it's given everybody some pause, because even as things start to open up again, we now realize that what we thought would never have been possible, but the entire world shut down, has
Yeah.
actually happened. And as we know in business, and as I said in the introduction, you've had 6 companies, 20 years of experience. We know that there has to be an element of risk management into that, and so we multiple streams of income, and so I think celebrities, and as you say, the people that deal, that whole world now realizes, well, we do need to open up. What other ways of streams of income can we leverage,
Mhm.
from in their instance, of course, is their name, they are their brand themselves. How can we align with that? And it's such a wonderful opportunity for companies, for product-based businesses who are a bit innovative in their thinking, to realize that there's incredible opportunities to be
Mhm.
leveraged. We collaborate. I think now
Yes.
even more, the collaboration is coming to the fore, which I think is exciting, because opportunities are right there. It's just a matter of identifying them,
Yes.
and reaching out and saying that. And there could be some real fun projects that come about out of that. And I love that kind of thing. I always love watching the bloopers behind, and the behind the scenes, because you can get a bit of an experience of kind of just a flash of the personality of that person. Now, if someone aligns with your brand, your product brand, and the two gets them exposure in front of a whole new crowd, and vice versa, I think it can be absolutely incredible. Look, I can keep talking to you all day, Sarah, but I know that I'm on the opposite side of the world for you, so it's still morning for me, and probably getting late afternoon or evening for you. So share with how can people get in contact with you? What's the best way? What's your website? All of those great details.
Okay, so you can find me at sarahshawconsulting.com. If you'd like to get started with the celebrities, you'll see a pop-up. You can download some free letters, samples, and a little PDF that will teach you how to get your products to celebrities. And then if you have a business and you want to explore how you can grow that, there's a big book now, and you can book a free call with me, and I'd love to talk to you about your business.
Fantastic. Well, look, thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on the show. And please reach out to her. As we said, we only just scratched the surface, but I know that there's great opportunities for businesses around the world. I mean, we've got a global audience. And so it doesn't matter what country that you're in. I'm sure that a lot of all of the strategies that you continue to share, Sarah, is going to be relevant. I'm just going to pop in. I love to, whenever anyone shares a comment here, and we've got some people that have been following along. What a great message. Thank you. Well, thank you, Rachel, for following along. I know that I've learned a lot too from what Sarah has shared. And again, thank you so much for coming on the show, Sarah.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
This podcast is brought to you by theinfluencealliance.com. Want to influence real change with your message by becoming known as a trusted authority in your industry while building a sustainable and scalable business you love? Find out how by accessing our free podcast series at www.theinfluencealliance.com/podcast series. That's theinfluencealliance.com.